Hey guys, I'm Donnie and this is Troy, and today we're going to be installing this rear disc brake conversion from Lead on this beautiful C10 pickup truck we got behind us. Troy, why don't you go over some of the tools we're going to need for this job?
Sure. You're going to need a jack, you're going to need some jack stands, everything else you see here, I mean, we're talking about just regular stuff that's in your garage. You're going to need an assortment of sockets, you're going to need some standard and metric wrenches, some screwdrivers, various pliers. You might need some vice grips to pinch off that brake line so you don't get too much fluid all over your garage floor.
For sure.
You're going to need some brake clean. You're going to be taking the diff cover off, so you're going to need to replace that fluid. You're going to need some .3 brake fluid to replace that. You know, you might need to give that hub a little love, so you might need a mallet.
Just a little bit.
But you know, basically stuff you've got in your garage already.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at what Lead sent in the box. So you've got your rotors, your mounting brackets, all your hardware, you've got your brake lines, you've got your calipers, and they were even nice enough to send along the brake pads. And as car guys, we all love stickers, and we all know they add at least 5 horsepower. So why don't we go ahead and get started on this thing?
Let's do it.
Troy's already broken loose the lug nuts on the 15s we've got on this truck, and you don't want to go any smaller than that. And you want to also make sure you don't modify this brake system because, let's be real, you don't want to be having any accidents out on the road. And for safety's sake, let's go ahead and chalk our tires too. Safely raise the vehicle off the ground. Now place your wheel chocks and support the vehicle with jack stands. Now you can remove the rear wheels. Remove the brake drums from the axles. If the drums are stuck, you can use a rubber mallet to gently help loosen them from the axle. Remove the differential cover bolts and then drain your gear oil. Rotate the differential until the center shaft retaining bolt is visible. Now carefully loosen and remove the retaining bolt. Push the center shaft toward the rear of the truck and slide it out of the differential. Then remove the C-clips. You can now remove the axles. Disconnect the parking brake cable from the brake lever and backing plate. Then using a flare wrench, disconnect the brake line from the back of the wheel cylinder. Remove the 4 nuts and bolts from the end of the axle housing and remove the drum brake backing plate. Inspect the axle bearings and seals and prep them for the installation of the new brackets. Use the 3/8 inch nuts and bolts that are supplied to secure the brackets to the axle housing. Be sure the surface is clean and free of any burrs or rust to ensure the brackets will sit flat. Now you can torque them to 45 to 50 foot-pounds. The brackets have 3 separate bolt patterns that allow you to position the caliper straight back, 20 degrees up or 20 degrees down. This allows you to install the calipers to clear the suspension or the wheel well. Be sure to install the base brackets with the countersunk holes facing out. Install the 7/16 of an inch socket head bolts that are provided into the countersunk holes of the base bracket. Then slide 2 of the 1/4 inch tube spacers that are provided over each bolt. The spacers are used to center the caliper over the rotor. The amount of spacers that you're going to need is dependent on your application. Now slide the upper caliper bracket over the bolts and secure them with the nuts that are provided. The nuts can be left finger tight until you verify the caliper is centered over the rotor. Now reinstall the axle shaft flanges, C-clips, center shaft, and retaining bolt. A tip here, make sure the axle shafts are on the correct side. Then tighten the retaining bolt. Make sure everything is spinning freely and reinstall the diff cover with a new gasket or silicone. Now refill the differential with the correct grade of gear oil. Now with the standard kit, you get these nice silver calipers as well as these vented rotors here. You can also upgrade to the cross-drilled and slotted rotors. They have this nice zinc coating on them, so you don't want to spray brake cleaner on there because it can cause some corrosion. And you've also got these nice red calipers you can upgrade to, or these really cool black ones. Place the rotors onto the ends of the axle shafts and secure with 2 lug nuts. Slide the caliper into position over the rotor and align the caliper with the mounting holes in the bracket. Then install the caliper slider bolts. The nuts can then be torqued to 45 to 50 foot-pounds. Next, run the parking brake cable above the axle and into the caliper, and make the final adjustments to ensure that the parking brake works correctly. It's important to bleed your brakes after installation. So like with any big upgrade, we've had our share of challenges. Lead says on their website that these brakes will work with most 15-inch wheels. Well, we happened to find the ones that it didn't work on. All because of this nice little lip on the inside there. It shrunk the diameter just enough to where it would not work with these calipers. So Krager Wheels was nice enough to send us this nice set of Krager SS's. This is going to be a real happy truck owner. The diameter Works just right, but you also don't want to use sticky weights. Get the clamp style. Put the wheels back on your truck and spin them to make sure the caliper doesn't scrub or hit the inside of the wheel, and that your brakes aren't dragging or locked up. Lower your truck and test the brakes to make sure they work properly. Drive the vehicle with medium application for the first 150 to 200 miles to properly seat the brakes. So now that we've completed the lead rear disc brake conversion on this Chevy C10, it not only looks great, but it has improved stopping power. So if you want to know more, check out leadbrakes.com.